Welcome back, everybody, to the newly expanded 3-acre, hopefully future trophy bass pond. You guys done? As you can see, the wildlife is wilding right now, and that has been the theme at the backyard pond for the last month. The spring has brought forth not only Canadian geese that have been hanging out, making babies. We'll talk about that a little bit later. We also had an incredibly successful spawn in the backyard pond. We noticed bass beds literally all over the place, as well as a ton of bluegill bed, reddy or sunfish bedding, all of which points to a very healthy pond right now, full of tiny edible bait fish. Now, just to get you guys up to speed, 6 months ago or so, we stocked 20 ultra aggressive, kind of genetically modified tiger bass into this pond. A tiger bass is basically a genetic mix of a northern largemouth and a Florida strain largemouth, giving that tiger bass the best of both worlds without any of the weaknesses of either strain. In fact, these tiger bass were so aggressive that in the last pond update, we actually caught one of those tagged tiger bass less than a week after stocking it on an artificial lure, which confirms that these bass are in fact ultra aggressive. Wow, this is insane. That is a tagged fish that has been caught on a little crappie jig less than a week after being stocked. Check that out. He's eating good. He's already getting fooled by little baby jigs. That's probably a good sign for their health and survival. And I also tasked you guys with naming that first fish, and that's what we're gonna do every single time we catch one of these tiger bass that are tagged. We're gonna annotate the weight, the length, track any growth that's happened since we stocked them, and then you guys are gonna name each and every single fish. So that first tagged tiger bass that we caught, I put it to you guys to name it in the comment section. I had a lot of suggestions, but the one that really stuck out to me was Boss. And let me explain why. That bass tag number was 302. If you're anything like me and you're a fan of old school Mustangs, this is gonna make sense to you. At one point in time, the Ford Mustang had a Boss 302 motor in a model back in the late 60s. And I am a huge retro Mustang fan myself, so bass tag number 302, it makes sense to call him Boss. So now he is officially logged in our tracking database as Boss. And I just want to say thank you again for all you guys who participated in the naming process. And we're gonna do that every single time we catch one of these tiger bass. Also guys, really quickly, we've got a new website for Bravo Energy Pouches, and not only does it look cooler than it did, but now we have complete customizable options for you guys to build your own bundles, choose exactly which flavors you want, and we've got the best pricing available now. So this is the best value and the most customizable that our website has ever been. Take advantage, build your own bundle. There'll be a link right in the top of the description. Ditch the energy drinks, give them a try. My personal favorites are sour gummy worm and berry bomb, but we're coming out with new flavors really soon that are gonna knock some people's socks off. Anyways, let's get back to the pond update. The tiger bass were not the only creatures out here very active over the last couple months. We've had these same Canadian geese visit us for about 2 years in a row now. These geese migrate down from the north, and for the last couple years, they have made this pond their home. Not only that, last year, they actually had 2 babies basically in the backyard pond, which I thought was the coolest thing ever. Fast forward to this year, and I believe it's the same family of Canadian geese that have returned, but this time they had 4 babies, and get this, the babies first appeared to us on Mother's Day. How cool is that? Being able to share this pond with the local wildlife as well as myself and my family has always been my favorite part, but when you get to witness something like this, it is just so cool watching these geese swim around with their new babies. They're super proud, and look at these kids, look at these babies. I mean, they look nothing like the adult Canadian geese. They look like little ducks, honestly. They look like little yellow fuzzy ducks, and it's just the cutest thing. Watching the 4 of them swim along after their mom with the daddy in the rear, kind of looking around, making sure there's no threats around. And let me tell you something about this daddy Canadian goose. He is a savage. This man has spent the last month while his partner was sitting on eggs, he has been fighting every single bird that has tried to come into this pond or near the pond. We're talking about turkeys, vultures, other Canadian geese. This man was not gonna let anybody screw up what he had going on. He knew he had some quadruplets coming up, and he was like, hey, There ain't no room for nobody else in this pond, okay? Now, as cool as all the Canadian geese baby sightings were, and as cool as it has been to have those tiger bass in the pond now, it hasn't all been positive out here at the backyard pond. I know you guys remember the gigantic oak tree that we had right here behind the dock, right next to the backyard pond. We actually had a couple of trees next to it too. There was a pine tree, a sweet gum tree. And as you guys saw, after we did the expansion, unfortunately, a bunch of soil eroded down onto the root system of that big oak tree, and it just choked the life out of it before we could do anything to recover it. It got to the point where all of these trees were dead, and they started dropping limb after limb, or widowmaker after widowmaker. If you know, you know. It just got to the point where it was a danger. It was a hazard for me to be down here with the kids. Wasn't a good situation, so we had to call in some experts, and they had to come in and cut the tree down. It was super sad, but you know what? I've come to learn on this earth that even when something bad happens, normally something good is gonna come out of it. That's right, boys and girls. We have officially come to the day where we are gonna knock down these trees that unfortunately died after the pond expansion. That was super fast. They already cut down the one dead pine tree. So we got those guys that are gonna be doing all the cutting, obviously. Then we got a truckload of dirt. We might even have a second one coming a little bit later because we're gonna have to fill in the giant holes that are gonna be left behind. I cannot believe how quickly they just took that first tree down. That was insane. That guy must have one of those real lumberjack chainsaws. This oak tree is so big, they actually don't want to risk trying to just knock it over and like fell the oak tree. They're actually going to bring in this little cherry picker bucket truck. They're going to put a guy up top, and they're just going to start cutting it limb by limb from the bottom all the way down. Man, the tree is looking pretty bald. Gosh, she's lost most of her limbs at this point. Wow, this is crazy. Yeah, that's a widowmaker right there. Woo! That would have been the sound that my spine made if one of those landed on top of me. Hence the reason why we had to cut this tree down. Crazy, he's just moving down the tree just inch by inch, just it's really incredible how quickly they have gone about this. These guys have probably only been out here for an hour or less, and they've already got one tree totally down and cut up and sectioned up. And they've got the big oak tree, like 70% of it cut down. I was, for some reason, thinking this was gonna be like an all-day event, but clearly I'm just slacking in my mentality. Got this entire tree basically just cut up, sectioned up. Some of these are gonna be perfect. I wanted to create some stools, like, you know, log seats in case we do like a fire pit or something in this area. These bad boys are going to be perfect. Look at these jokers. Oh my God. That's amazing. I mean, you'd have to be Andre the Giant to find this thing comfortable, but yeah. Oh, my oak tree. You poor girl. You tried so hard to hang on, you just couldn't do it. We still got this little sweet gum tree to deal with as well, but I don't think it's gonna take these fellas too much longer. Apparently one of these gentlemen, the guy driving that little Bobcat, he said his son is a huge subscriber of the channel. His son's name was Clayton Strickland. So shout out to you, Clayton. Thank you for watching the videos. Thank you all for watching the videos, but it's always cool when we cross paths with a subscriber and their family, and just you guys are truly everywhere out there in the world, and I just want to say thank you, and I love you. Thank you for watching these silly YouTube videos. Guys, remember, projects like this are sponsored by my company, Bravo Energy Pouches. And when I say sponsored by, I mean, I don't actually get paid by this company because we just put all the money back into Bravo. But you know what I'm saying, guys. When you support Bravo Energy Pouches, you are literally supporting me and this channel. And you guys have given us a ton of support at Bravo. I just want to say thank you. Remember, guys, no nicotine, no tobacco, just the pure, clean caffeine that we love from energy drinks, without all the sugar, without all the hassle, without all the crazy ingredients that they put in those energy drinks nowadays. Ain't nobody got time for all that. Grab yourself a can of Bravo, and it's made in the US of A, and it's a veteran-founded company. Guys, there'll be a link right at the top of the description. Check out Bravo if you haven't already. Thinking I might do me a little triple-do day. Oh my Lord. Do a little sour gummy worm. Do a little berry bomb to kind of balance out the sour. Oh my God, I've never done that both at the same time. I just got chill bumps. And a little citrus strike uppercut here. The new citrus strike. I'm feeling pretty good right now. Okay, don't start off with 3 pouches, please. Don't do that to yourself. God, that sounded like a gunshot. I barely got my camera on in time. Dang, look at that. Down she goes. It's so hard to put into perspective how big these trees are. Once they're on the ground, you know, you can really tell. I was legit just able to count the rings on that tree. You know how they always say, you know, there's a ring for every year that tree's been alive? I could see all the rings clear as day. It was really cool. I counted over 50 rings. I kind of lost the ability to count. Who knows how old this tree was, but definitely been here for at least 50 years. Wow, this is just surreal. Walking up to this part of the pond right next to the dock and not seeing those trees right there, man, that's gonna take some getting used to. This hole where that oak tree root was just massive. We thought this whole project was only gonna take like 2 or 3 loads of dirt to fill in these holes left behind by the trees, but we're actually gonna double that. I think we've already done like 3 or 4 loads. We're gonna have to do like 6 loads to get this job done. I'll tell you something else really cool that I just learned about from a gentleman. We were talking about this tree in particular, and of course trees have rings, which you guys can see the circular rings, but apparently there's only a couple of trees in America that not only have the rings, but if you look very closely, they have vertical etching in them as well, called rays. So the rays are running in this direction, whereas the rings are running around, and they are just so intricate. There's like thousands of these little vertical rays that run in between the rings of the tree, and apparently only red oaks and white oaks are the only 2 trees that have those rays along with the rings. Now, one of those guys told me that, and I'm not sure if that's true. I didn't verify that information, but it was told to me in a way that I feel like he was telling the truth. It seemed like a guy that had extensive knowledge of trees. So he dropped that little bit of knowledge on me, so I will pass it on to you guys. So that leaves us with this big old cleared open area. It took like 6 or 7 truckloads of dirt to fill this hole, which is craziness, but the dock sure does not look the same, minus all the shade that it used to have. In fact, right now, you see where the sun is, the dock would normally be totally shaded by all these trees, and now, you know, there's just no shade over here. Kind of sucks, but speaking of the silver lining, boys, we got firewood. And I had them cut some of these pieces right here that we're gonna try to use as like tables or something. Like maybe build like a big fire ring or something, like a family fire pit ring, some chairs around it, and then have some of these in between the chairs as tables. I don't know, it's just such a cool tree. I'd hate to do nothing with it. Now, splitting all this wood into firewood pieces, that's gonna be fun, and I'd hate to be the guy that has to do all that. Wait, that's me, right? Frick. I know some of you might be thinking, LOJO, why didn't you cut down the tree and have it fall into the pond and use it as fish structure, right? Well, we talked about that. We actually examined that option, and after talking to the people who cut the trees down, he kind of told me, like, look, man, this is kind of a weird job. I don't know if I feel comfortable putting a man down there in this hole and trying to follow the tree where we want it to go. It just might get a little hairy, might get a little dangerous. So you know what? Why take the risk? Let's just cut it down from the top, stack the wood, and move on with our lives. Because I actually have some plans to create much more fish structure this summer in the backyard pond. So don't worry, guys, we're gonna handle that problem. Now, one thing we know about bass is they need a lot of food to grow, right? Not just to keep them fed and satisfied, but we want to overfeed our bass, thus forcing them to grow at the fastest rate possible and creating that true trophy bass pond environment. So a little bit later in the video today, we're gonna be stocking what I believe to be bass's favorite food. And it certainly is the most protein-packed food. Gotta get that protein in, boys. Get that protein. Yeah, I don't even have muscles anymore. I don't know what I'm saying. Ah! Oh, hold on, girl. Ah! Oh! You guys know we have stocked literally every single type of bait forage in this body of water for bass, all the way down to the smallest, like minnows, shiners, all the way up to bluegill, red ear sunfish, shad. But for my money, crawfish are the best pound for pound forage for bass if you want them to grow. A crawfish is a literal protein shake for a bass. Something about a crawfish that just triggers a bass to attack it, which is crazy because you would think a bass wouldn't want the smoke with a tiny lobster with razor sharp pinching claws, but that just shows you how savage bass really are. They don't care about that. So we're gonna be heading up to the store in a little bit. I'm gonna be purchasing probably the most crawfish I've ever put into this pond. It's gonna be hundreds of pounds of crawfish when it's all said and done, and these fish are gonna have food for a long time. Plus, crawfish will survive, they will burrow down in the mud, they'll reproduce, and they'll hopefully just stay in the pond, and we'll just always have crawfish constantly reproducing. Like a never-ending replenishing buffet. It just spawns over and over again. Every time you eat something, it just fills it back in. Well, heck, what am I waiting on? Let's go get some crawfish. All right, boys and girls, have a huge load of crawfish with me. One of the biggest loads I've ever got before. Already put 2 entire bags way back there in the new cove where the dock is and the paddle boat is and everything. Then I have like 6 or 7 more bags in these coolers just like dumped out. Like there's like 2 whole bags in that cooler. That's a pretty big cooler. And then there's like 4 bags in that cooler. Make the trap go, hey! Oh, man. I mean, these are basically lobsters at this point. We're just putting straight up bass lobsters in here. Oh, he might be, no, he's not dead. He's just sleepy. He's sleepy. What can I say? Look at that bucket of bass candy. That is just pure protein. That's like steroids for our backyard bass. I think we're just gonna do a heavy dump right here on the spillway. Got the island straight out that way. A lot of deep water and a lot of bedding areas for the bass too. So this is just a good area to have a bunch of crawfish. Oh, yes, sir. Come on. Go for it, go for it, go for it, boys. Go, go, go. Okay, maybe I'll put some of those somewhere else. Dude, holy moly. That wasn't even the whole cooler. Look how many there are. Whoa, there's an albino. There's a whitey. Come here, brother. What's up? Look at the claws on that guy. Man, he is just ghost white. And that sea of red. Well, I just put you over there. Actually, I feel kind of weird doing that. I don't know. I'm not racist, I swear. Let's give him some water. Wake him up a little bit. Ah! One of them tried to grab me. Oh, shoot. Somebody up. Yikes, that cooler slammed shut on somebody's hand. I'm sorry. Ah. Now we got a nice little pile over here behind the island. We were just over there at the spillway. This was a really good batch. I've only seen a few dead ones, and sometimes you can get like 60–70% dead batches. So it's a good thing we're not dealing with that this time. Little bitty mud bugs. You're going the wrong way, Junior. Let me help you. He made it. What? What, you talking? What, are you talking crazy on me, brother? Are you talking crazy on me? Okay, I'm just kidding. I love you guys. Stay safe out there. Watch out. There's a lot of very aggressive bass. There might even be a few tiger bass out there. And if you see them, definitely steer clear of them. Okay, good talk. See you later. This is a big cooler. This sucker is just chock full of crawfish. It is deep too. That's literally 4 bags, and each bag has between 30 and 40 pounds of crawfish in it. And I think the cove is probably the best place, or it's not even technically in the cove, it's right next to the cove, but you've also got the deep water right here. So if I stock this huge amount right here, they can either go shallow into the cove, which would be great, or they can go a little bit deeper water and maybe be safer for a little while. Just gives them some good options. There's a bass bed right there. Oh! Oh my gosh. Look at that amount of crawfish. Dude, that's so many. That's what 150 pounds of crawfish looks like in a pile. Guys, that is so awesome. That is going to be feeding this pond for months, maybe even years to come. These guys are great at hiding. They burrow down in the mud. They make a lot of babies. And that's just creating more and more bait for these fish. You gotta love it. Look, they're already acclimating. They're already swimming out of it. Love to see it. Oh wow, I splashed the screen so bad. Oh my gosh, boo on me. Boom, there you go. Got the bass fed. We have stocked this thing again with some crawfish. I feel really good about that. You know, we've owned this pond for about 6 years now, and we've done a lot of stuff to it, as you guys know. One thing that has consistently happened over time is we've found dead bass floating, right? And I've documented that on my channel several times. Sometimes there's a reason for it, like an otter attack. It also could have been a gut-hooked fish, or maybe it's just a really big bass that dies of old age. But we actually have not found a dead bass in the pond for a couple of years. And I was starting to think that we had this environment and the ecosystem of the pond really dialed in. That was until the other day, and unfortunately, we found another dead bass. Gosh darn it. Dang it. That's a good sized fish. Oh no. Yikes. Oh no. Oh. Whew. That's stinky. Definitely not what you like to see. Well, guys, that is really unfortunate. Just walked down here just to give y'all some perspective. The island's right there, dock, the cove's over there. So we're over here on this opposite side. And then I walked down here and just dead bass floating. That's not a tiny bass either. That's pretty decent size. I'd say it was a 2+ pounder, maybe like a 2.5. Looks like the turtles and some other creatures have been eating him, working on him from the bottom side right there. You can tell he has been getting some chunks bitten out of him. Oh my goodness. There also could be a million reasons why that bass died. I didn't see anything in its throat that would show that it had like choked on anything. And it certainly shouldn't have died of old age because it wasn't that big. So I don't know. Get in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think could have happened to that bass. The pond health has been really good overall. We know that. We've seen a ton of improvements with the bass population and other populations, but you just hate to see it when your pet bass are dropping dead for no apparent reason. That's just never a good thing as a pond owner. Now this was really scary at first because from a distance I could see it floating and it kind of looked like it was the size of what the tiger bass would be at this point in time. So I was really scared that we had already lost one of the tagged tiger bass. But upon further inspection, I was relieved to know that it was not a tiger bass. It was not a tagged fish, but that was an almost 3-pound largemouth, it looked like to me, at least if it was filled out and totally healthy. And that is not good. I don't want to be losing 3-pound stalkers. You know, those are those good, hardy, medium-sized fish that you need. And I wanted the pond to be filled with 3-pounders, you know? So that was really sad. And of course, we don't know what happened. So I'm just gonna choose to believe that maybe it was just natural causes and there's nothing wrong with the water. You know, hopefully the oxygenation is fine. It should be. This is a spring-fed pond, so we have 24-hour-a-day fresh oxygenated water coming in, and we have drainage. So I don't know. I mean, you guys get in the comments section. What do you think killed that bass? I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing other pond owners deal with this, but it's just never good when you lose a nice fish that you just love to catch. Guys, you know, it's not always sunshine and rainbows out here in nature. We know that. Bass do tend to die every now and again. Trees tend to die, but you know what? The pond lives on. And with the deaths that we've experienced, there has been new life brought forth as well. So that's what gives me great joy about living out here in the country. Hope you guys enjoyed this pond update. There will be more coming soon. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.